Hi there, welcome to Lamlam's audiobook novel channel. Today's story is titled, The CEO's Maid. Chapter 4, Cracks in the Ice. Emily woke up before dawn to the sound of her alarm. Her limbs ached from the previous day's tasks, and her palms were still sore from scrubbing the mirrored staircase until it shone like the sun. She took a moment to sit on the edge of her small cot, hidden behind the servant quarters of Damien Devereux's penthouse. For a moment, she allowed herself to close her eyes and think about home. Her father's weak smile, the way he used to hum when casting his net into the ocean, her mother's once bright laughter now dulled by endless hospital shifts. She rose and got dressed, her uniform crisp and clean, her braids tied neatly. She refused to give him, Damien, the satisfaction of seeing her broken. By 5 a.m., she was already in the kitchen, preparing his green smoothie exactly as he liked it. Organic kale, banana, almond butter, chia seeds, and a touch of cinnamon. She placed it carefully on a silver tray and made her way to his office upstairs. She knocked once and waited. Enter, came the deep, clipped response. Emily walked in, head bowed slightly, placing the tray gently on the edge of his desk. "You're 2 minutes late," he said, but there was no real venom behind the words, only habit. "I apologize, sir." His eyes flicked to her. "I don't recall hiring anyone to make excuses." Emily bit the inside of her cheek. "Yes, sir." Damien's gaze lingered on her for a moment longer than usual before he returned to his screen. "That'll be all." As she turned to leave, he called out again. "Walker." She froze. "Yes, sir." "You were humming yesterday. In the laundry room." Emily's eyes widened slightly. "I didn't realize I was." His lips curved into something between a smirk and a sneer. "Well, don't. This is a place of work, not a Broadway audition." Heat rose to her cheeks. "Understood, sir." She exited as calmly as she could, but her chest felt tight. She hadn't even noticed she was humming. Music had always been her escape. By afternoon, the staff buzzed about the upcoming board gala. It was an annual event that showcased Damien's most powerful allies and elite circle. Emily didn't care for glamour or crowds, but the mention of it reminded her that this world she now lived in was not hers, and never would be. She was scrubbing the marble floor outside the gallery room when a woman in red stilettos stopped before her. "You must be the new girl." Emily looked up into the face of a sharply dressed woman with steel-colored eyes and a lipstick smirk. She had the air of someone who'd grown used to stepping on others to rise. "Yes, I'm Cassandra, Mr. Devereux's executive assistant. Which makes me the woman you really want to impress." Emily nodded politely. "Of course. I'd suggest you keep your head down and your uniform spotless. Mr. Devereux has no patience for sentimentality or stupidity." With that, Cassandra clicked away, heels echoing like a warning bell down the marble hallway. Emily returned to her scrubbing, but her thoughts weren't on the floor anymore. She was beginning to realize that every inch of this building had eyes, and most of them didn't blink kindly. Later that night, Damien stood at the glass wall of his study, staring down at the city lights. Behind him, the door creaked. "You didn't knock," he said. Emily paused in the doorway, a basket of folded linens in her hand. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to intrude." He turned, his expression unreadable. "You didn't. Come in." She stepped in cautiously, placing the linens on the nearby cabinet. He watched her, arms crossed. "Do you ever get tired?" She blinked. "I'm sorry." "Of pretending to be calm, unbothered." Emily looked at him squarely. "Do you ever get tired of pretending to be cruel?" The room fell into a long, charged silence. Damien's jaw flexed. "Careful, Walker." "I'm always careful," she said, then turned to leave. Something about the way she walked out, shoulders straight despite the exhaustion, steps quiet but firm, unsettled him. He didn't know why he kept watching her, why her silence spoke louder than the sycophants that filled his boardroom. At midnight, Emily sat by the window of the servants' lounge, watching the rain paint silver streaks across the glass. She pulled her legs up to her chest, wrapping her arms around them. She didn't cry often. But tonight, the weight of everything was pressed too hard. Her father's deteriorating health, the job that felt like a cage, the suffocating loneliness. She missed the smell of salt-drenched mornings, the call of gulls circling their creaky rooftop. A single tear slipped down her cheek. What she didn't know was that Damien had walked past the open lounge door on his way to the gym. He paused when he saw her sitting there. He stood in silence, just watching her silhouette curled up like a child. Vulnerable. Real. He clenched his jaw, the image of her huddled frame burned into his mind. He didn't know what disturbed him more, that she looked like someone he'd failed once before, or that he cared. Thanks for listening to Lamlam Audiobooks. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. New chapters drop every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. Stay tuned, because in this story, nothing is ever what it seems. Until next time, keep listening.